What's up, everyone? It's DeagleBeagle, and today we're going to look at Ursaluna, and there's a couple ways you could use it. So the most common way is actually, for now, people using they'll use Terranormal with it, and they'll use Protect, they'll use Headlong Rush, Facade, and some other move. Either Heavy Slam for coverage against Flutter Main, or one of these other moves like a fighting move like Brick Break or something. So expect that. I haven't seen anyone run like Bulk Up or Source Sense yet, but that might be a decent option in Trick Room, especially that turn before you get the Guts boost. You could set up with a sword stance or a bulk up. Bulk up might be better because this thing has a lot of weaknesses, like being ground and normal. It has, I want to say, 4 weaknesses: ice, grass, water, fighting. I think that's it. But that's 4 weaknesses, and those are kind of common. So expect this thing to get super affected a lot, and that's kind of a bummer because that combined with its speed stat, it's pretty fast in Trick Room, but there's a few things that outspeed it, like Glastier and other things, and you have to wait a turn for Facade, for the Guts to activate for Facade or something. So I think this Pokemon's kind of overrated for a Trick Room team, but it might be better on a team that doesn't rely on speed control that much. I've seen it do really well with someone using U-turn. They U-turn into it so that Rillaboom takes the hit, for example, the U-turner, and then you get a switch into Ursaluna, and then now it has Guts activated. So yeah, if you use U-turn and Trick Room, and then Ursaluna comes in, then that could be pretty good. Or you could just switch into it, but then it takes a hit. If you're fine with that, yeah. If you prefer taking a hit over Rillaboom, that's fine. But another issue with a Flame War Pokemon and Trick Room is they can stall your burn and use it against you, so that you eventually kill yourself. One way to mitigate this, though, is to use Rillaboom, and I do use Rillaboom on a Trick Room team, but I haven't been a huge fan of Ursaluna because that whole one turn thing, even though you can switch into it, sure, but um, but I don't know. It isn't slow enough, or I should say, isn't fast enough in Trick Room. It takes a turn to activate. It has high potential, I'll give it that, but that and it just has bad defensive typing too. So overall, I'd say this Pokemon's pretty overrated, but it does have very high potential if you use it right. Possibly, like I was saying, with U-turn, or possibly not even on a Trick Room team, like on just a team without Trick Room. And I would use Earthquake with it, with the ground immunity, so you take advantage of its ground power. Yeah, or you could use, high horsepower. To take advantage of its power, though, like I was saying, is I would use a spread move like Earthquake, even with all the flying Pokemon. And there's, here, let's go to another way of using it. Actually, Facade, I think, only works, yeah. Facade, no. There's got to be another Double Edge, I think. Because I know Guts activates for sure with being asleep, but not Facade. Has to be physical and normal. So Double Edge, yeah, Double Edge would be good. Body Slam, probably Double Edge. And then I don't know about Earthquake. I would probably use High Horsepower. High Horsepower in general seems better than Headlong Rush unless you need that little extra power. But to me, I don't agree generally with Headlong Rush, even though it is more accurate and more powerful, because lowering your defenses on a Mon that isn't Focus Sash and kind of needs its bulk to thrive, I would probably use high horsepower instead personally, but you could use either one. I just think that generally speaking, it probably shouldn't run Headlong Rush, because when the opponents use that against me, then I just use the defensive stat drop against them. And as far as the Terra goes, I don't think I would recommend normal, because then they'll hit you with the super effective fighting attack whether you're Terra or not. It already is powerful enough with Facade, and it has crazy attack. So I mean, you could, but I would probably give it a defensive Terra. So it's weak to it's weak to 4 things. So let's look at what we can do. So fighting especially. So poison would resist fighting. I think it resists grass. Yeah, grass. And then ice would be neutral. And then water would be neutral. So poison's a good defensive type. I think ghost would be pretty good though, because you're totally immune to fake out, extreme speed, and fighting moves, and you can basically take 0 damage and then hit back hard. So I mean, you can use what you want, but there's so many fighting Pokemon out that Ghost might actually be a pretty good typing, because to threaten taking 0 damage from their move is pretty good. And I know like Urshifu or whatever can change moves, but like you could even bluff the Terra Ghost, where then they're kind of forced to use like a dark move if they're the regular Urshifu. I guess it wouldn't bother the Rapid Strike one that much, because they could just use a water move. But even still, you Terra Ghosting, they can't super affect you with a fighting or water excuse me, or water move. So that's pretty good. So there's not a great defensive type, but generally you're not supposed to use the same defensive type as what it's already weak to. Then that's really like an offensive Terra type and not a defensive one. So you could, ground actually would be bad defensively, but better offense. In Trick Room, with Rest Talk, I would probably use something with few weaknesses. Ghost would be probably good enough. Up to you though. And sorry, not Flame Orb. You would want like Leftovers or something. And this would be pretty bulky. I have used regular Ursaring with Rest Talk Trick Room, but regular Ursaring doesn't have the same attack stat. It has been pretty decent. See, the thing with Ursaluna though, it's actually not much better than Ursaring, and in some ways it's worse because it has more weaknesses. I remember Ursaring not doing completely great either, even with the Rest Talk set or the Flame Orb Guts one. So to say that Ursaluna is far higher tier just because it has slightly higher stats, and I guess it has more bulk, but it doesn't get Eviolite. So yeah, you can use the Flame Orb Guts because you don't have Eviolite. but actually rest talk is good on Ursaring. But you could try it on Ursaluna too, because it does have more bulk than, well, if this has Evulite, it has more bulk. But anyways, you could take some out of attack and put it in bulk if you're using rest talk. So you might actually want to do that. That's hard to say how much you should take out, but these are the two main ways I think Ursaluna should be used. As far as the terror type though, I don't know about normal, maybe on the offensive one, but personally I probably would use a defensive terror type in general. So thanks for watching.